Hi everyone, welcome back. This section of videos we are going to cover picking the resort that works for you. And again, any tips I share is just what has worked for our family. So grab your ears and let's get started. Just wanted to talk about today your choices when you travel to the Disney World Resort in Florida. Again, that's the only one that I will share tips on because that's what I know, because that's where our family has traveled. So let's get started talking about the different resort options and staying on property versus off property. The pros and cons for our family. Some pros and cons for staying off property. If you stay off property, it could save you some substantial amount of money. But we found typically, to get a hotel in a decent area with kids, and it's going to run you around $100 a night anyway. So the value resorts have worked out great for us because off season when we travel, we might get a room for $120 a night. So that's not really much difference than what you'd pay for a Holiday Inn or a chain hotel. And then you're going to be immersed in the Disney magic, and that's one thing I love about the value resorts at the Disney hotels. When you stay at a value resort, you're immersed in Disney the whole time. So the rooms are decorated with Disney decor. There's tons of photo ops all around the property. Here I'll put in a couple of pictures from some of the stays. We have done all of the value resorts. In just a moment I'll touch on my favorites and why. But I've heard some people say they don't like the value resorts because of the size. Now for our family, like I said, we open the parks and we stay until it's closed and they're kicking us out. So we're only in the room for a couple hours. Like some nights we wouldn't get back to our room until midnight, and then we're back up at 5 or 6 o'clock again to catch the first bus. So I would rather save money and stay at a value resort. They've always been clean. They've always been fun. Again, I will put in a couple of pictures here to show you some of the examples I'm talking about. The theming is just awesome at the value resorts. We love just, sometimes we have some down days where we're not doing parks. We love just walking around the hotel and getting pictures with the kids and seeing all the cool things. So that's just a perk for my family. Every family is different, but this just gives you an idea of what the value resorts are like. And we really don't have any complaints. Our last trip we did stay at the All-Star Sports Resort, and while it was clean and suited our needs, I will say it's the smallest of the value resorts. So like some of the other food courts have several stations, like drink stations where you another episode I'll talk about the refillable mugs. But anyway, the drink stations where you get your fill your mugs. This All-Star Sports only had one, so that was pretty crowded any time of the day that we went. So the food court area was smaller. When you walked out from the main part of the lobby to the pool, like that was smaller. So everything, the rooms are about the same. Like to me, all of the value resort rooms, the basic rooms, not the family suites. The family suites are bigger and those are new. But the basic rooms are pretty much laid out the same. They're the same size. Again, you're not in the room that much, so you got to think about that. Where do you want to invest your money on? But the resort itself was smaller. But anyway, again, if that was the only way I got to go to Disney, I would still love it because we're the type, we're just thankful to be there. So anyway, sports was fine, and if you want to check that out, here's a couple of pictures from our sports stay. My favorite of the value resorts is the new Art of Animation. Now, only one section has the smaller, less expensive rooms, and that's the Little Mermaid section. All of the rest of this hotel, the Nemo section, Lion King, cars. Those are all family suites. Now, those are gorgeous. Now, that's not in our budget at this time to stay at one of those. But even if you are just in the Little Mermaid section, and that's the cheaper of the sections, you can walk around the whole property and take tons of cool pictures. And I'll try to insert a couple here. But lots of photo opportunities. So this one is my favorite. The theming is just gorgeous. We love all the colors. The food court is huge. The places to refill your drinks. I mean, everything about this resort just screams Disney, and it's just so much fun. And we love, even when we've not stayed at the Art of Animation, we've stopped in and just got something to eat and just walk around and took pictures. It's a really fun resort. Another thing about Disney property, if you are staying on the Disney property, you can visit any of the other resorts. We have, like I said, stayed at only the value resorts, but we've gone over to some of the others like Polynesian, the Animal Kingdom Lodge to eat and check out the resorts, and that's totally allowed when you are a Disney resort guest. If you're staying off property, that's not allowed. But that's a perk of staying on property. So no matter which one you stay at, you're free to, the guard will check your band at the gate when you enter the guarded property, and you can check out the other resorts and check out the restaurants and walk around, take pictures. You are not allowed to swim at any of the other pools. But, like I said, we have visited the others' food courts, let the kids play on the playground. It's a good way to check it out to see if it's an option for you in the future. You might want to stay there in the future. And even if it's not in your budget, it's a nice place. It's nice to check out the other places and see what they have to offer. One cool thing we did on this last trip, we were staying at the All-Star Sports, and one night we wanted to check out the Boardwalk Hotel. I've never seen that one, so that was on my bucket list of things to do. So we went over there, and again, you're allowed to visit any other resort, and the boardwalk area was so pretty at night. Everything was all lit up. There's ice cream shops, and it's just fun to get out and walk around. The kids had a blast. And then Boardwalk connects to the back door of Epcot. So you can walk across the bridge and you're at the International Gateway, which is like the back door to Epcot. Now, while you cannot go into Epcot without a park ticket, we could walk to the edge, and we got to see the fireworks. We got to watch the illumination fireworks without even actually entering the park. So even though we were going to Epcot another night, the Epcot fireworks are some of our favorites. So there's tons of little things like that you can do if you research and go online ahead of time and figure out some good little freebies and fun things to do like that. And I'm hoping to cover that on another video, like free and fun things or inexpensive things to do at Disney. Sometimes I get excited when I get to talking, and I'm trying to not do that in these videos so we can kind of keep them specific to the topic at hand. So that's another tip. The perk for me for staying at Pop Century is the bridge that connects Pop Century to Art of Animation. So even if you stay at Pop, which is a few dollars cheaper than Art of Animation, you can just walk across the bridge and you're right there at Art of Animation. And then you can still take advantage of taking pictures and walk around seeing all the beautiful scenery and playing on the playgrounds, eating at the food court there. Again, you are not allowed to visit the other properties' swimming pools, but you're free to walk across the bridge and check out the scenery and get lots of pictures. So that's a perk to staying at Pop. But again, that's my least favorite because of has the least amount of Disney theming. I've talked a lot about the on-property. And some more perks to staying on property, of course, is the Disney transportation. You just walk out and meet at the designated areas. And if you stay at a Disney resort, they'll give you maps and show you where the bus pickups are. So a perk is staying there and getting to ride the Disney transportation back and forth to the parks. The downside for us, once we've had kids, getting on the buses in the morning with the stroller and all the bags that we pack has not been fun. So actually this last trip, we just drove to the parks each day. If you are a Disney resort guest, they give you a slip of paper to put in your car so you don't have to pay for parking, and this worked out great for our family this past trip. Driving ourselves to the park this past time with 3 kids was such a blessing. It worked out so much better for us than trying to get on a bus, because I would always feel bad for getting on a bus with the stroller and all of our things. So I could just get on our van and take our time and not be rushed getting in and out of the van. If I needed to change a diaper one more time, I could. If I needed to nurse a baby one more time, I could. So this was a perk for us this time, just driving ourselves. Before we had kids, the bus was the way to go. We would just hop on a bus. We didn't have all the paraphernalia and stuff that comes with children. So before we had children, riding the Disney transportation was great. But now with 3 little ones, we prefer to drive ourselves. It just worked out so much better. When we did stay off property, we stayed at a little town called Kissimmee. Kissimmee, I'm not sure which is the right way to pronounce it. Plus I'm country and I pronounce things differently than other people. But there was a little town called Kissimmee right outside of Orlando, and it was not as crowded, and I don't like big cities, so it wasn't as crowded as all the crazy hubbub of in the middle of Orlando. And you could check out the hotels, but that's where we would stay. There was tons of restaurants. There was a little thing called we stayed at a hotel near a place called Old Town, and at night they had all these little shops and like old car shows. There was rides. It's like a little fair carnival type thing that happened every night. And also in that area, we when we stayed there was families out everywhere, so it seemed a pretty family friendly part of town. And so that was Kissimmee, and that's where we stayed a couple of times before we started staying on the property. One downside I could think of for staying off of property is when you leave the parks at night, you're just exhausted. And so I would not enjoy having to drive now, very far. I would just want to hurry up and get to the room and get unloaded and get ready to do it again the next day. So, for me, that would be a downside to staying off property. So that's just something to consider. One of the fun things I've noticed, and I'll insert here in this part of the video, is when we stay at the property, and I don't know about the moderate and the more expensive resorts, but in the value resorts, one fun thing I've seen is people decorate their windows. So if you've never been and you're going for an occasion like a birthday or anniversary, it's fun to bring things to decorate your room windows. We've done this a couple of times. Some people are very elaborate. They've got lights and everything, but it's just something fun and a little extra Disney touch to add to your trip. Because I'll put a couple of pictures in that and show you what I'm talking about. But if you've never been, you don't know that people do that and that it's allowed. So, but it's really cool to walk around the resort and see all the different things that people have done. Another thing I do before we go, and there's websites that I have found that give you templates that you can print up with your family's name and the year, whatever you want to say. I've done some that have like Tinkerbell and it says our family's name, the vacation, which year it is. But these little cards, and these I just hand drew myself because I was running out of time. I wasn't able to print. But we'll print these out or make these up to leave for mousekeeping, and instead of the housekeeping, it's called mousekeeping. But if you want to leave your tip in the room, it's just a little something cute to leave behind. We've made these for the cast members, like at the restaurants where you want to leave a tip. But, I think I've heard comments that they appreciate it and they like it. And just a little something fun to do with the kids and to get excited for your trip. Prepping for the trip is just as much fun as being there. So we have fun doing little things like this and just adds a little special touch to the trip. Another thing you could do if you're trying to decide which resort is right for you and your family, go on YouTube and just search for the name of the resort. We did this the past trip as well because we had never stayed at sports before, so we were wondering what it was going to look like. Just go on YouTube and put in All-Star Sports Resort or Disney World's All-Star Sports Resort, and people have done videos where it's just like walkthrough videos of the resort. So we've done that with lots of resorts, checking them out. There's several people that have put the videos together where they're just walking through the rooms, they're walking through the outside so you can see the pool areas, the food courts, the check-in areas. So, utilize the things that are available online if you can't decide, which resort is right for you. There's lots of, resources out there to check. And like I said, the All Ears Net site has lots of pictures of the outside of the rooms and inside, but they've got every Disney resort listed on the website with lots of pictures, lots of information to help you choose, which resort would be right for you. In my previous video, I talked about how I chart prices and check the specials throughout the year. Disney with the hotels, certain times of the year are cheaper than others, and that's whether you're doing a package or not. You know, we have gone before and just stayed at the hotel a couple of days and not even done a Disney park, you know, just because we love being there so much at the hotel. That's fun just to do that. Like I said, I'm going to do another video on the freebies to do. So we did like 3 nights at one of the value resorts, and then we did some of the freebies around. I mean, and we had so much fun. It was so relaxing because when you're doing parks, it's for what we are. It's go, go, go the whole time. You don't really get a break. I always say you can sleep when you get home. So just hanging out there at the resorts is nice too. So you can go online at some of the planning websites and check the calendars and see what time of the year is best for you and your family as far as the budget. Like I said, I know sometimes I've gone January and February, and the room rates, if you're doing a room only trip, have been cheaper than if you want to go in the summer. So there's lots of things to go online and check for that. Or you can just actually go to the Disney World site and then punch in your days. And that's what I do sometimes too. I'll go on, you know, and just like do room only and punch in my dates and see what that total is. Then I'll punch it in for some different dates and see what that total is. So just be, you know, if you're flexible on your, when you can travel, just check. And they have peak seasons and they have value seasons. So we usually try to travel in the value season. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for now. Check back in with us soon. TTFN. Bye-bye.